What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 40 of Smack Talk here at smarkoutmoment.com or youtube.com/smarkoutmoment. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. With me today, we have one newcomer, Mike Payton, and one regular, Chris Urban.
What's shaking, folks?
I know you guys missed me. I'm back.
A whole bunch of boos just happened. We are going to do a couple things this week. Not a whole lot's going on, so we mostly just threw everything into the hot tags, but I was trying to think of stuff for Ask Hims to send you guys, and off the top of my head, I couldn't really think of anything, so we're going to skip that this week. If you have an Ask Him that you can send me, just comment, and I'll try to answer it on the comments, and probably get them all wrong, because people like to tell me things that are way too obscure for me. But, hey, it's part of the fun. We're going to go over a bunch of hot tags coming up in a minute, and then we're going to go over the latest round of the Hottest Divas and Knockouts tournament, and that should probably be it for the episode. Next week's going to be pretty packed because we're going to have stuff with TNA's Hardcore Justice, and then the week afterward we're going to have to go with a review of that and predictions for SummerSlam, so a lot's coming up. Don't worry, it's not just going to be two segment episodes for the next month or anything like that. And before we get into that stuff, let's go into the hot tags. We're going to make it 10 minutes this time instead of the 5 minutes, just because why not? There's nothing else to really talk about other than these, so let's give it a little bit more time.
It'll be longer than any tag match in Raw history this year.
Yeah, and it'll be longer than any of the Divas matches combined this year.
Not complaining about that.
No.
I don't think this is on our list, but I just want to make a point of it. This Monday on Raw, there actually probably was a tag match that was more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, that actually was like 2 segments long or something, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Huh.
There was a significant amount of wrestling overall on Monday night, which I thought was cool.
Maybe
which is good. They should be making use of that extra hour.
Yeah,
I heard
maybe
they were going
that's
to be
the
doing
problem.
more of that social stuff. I was like, oh gosh, how many touts of people are we going to have to watch?
Yeah, the same people that are just going, oh, I think that John Cena's the best, and oh, I think CM Punk's a little better, and I really don't care what anybody else has to say on out of the ones that they would pick. I'd pick if the people were crazy and everything, but
Hey, speaking of touts.
what about Tout?
Tony.
We have a subject about touting. I was
We've
trying to
got,
set you up for a segue there.
I thought you were gonna pick that one up. All right, yeah.
Oh.
Tensai, for anybody who's following him with his touts, decided that he was going to put one up that Sakamoto, who is his companion driving, that it's dangerous to drive with Sakamoto because he's Japanese and he needs to, quote, open up his eyes.
If I recall correctly, this is his very first tout that he did.
It is his first one? Oh my god, that's so awful.
Bad.
There goes your lack of a push that you were already getting. There's a lot of stuff going on this week with Japanese and WWE and people being upset. Another one of them is Yoshi Tatsu. He's claiming that not only is he upset with his spot in the company, which, let's knock that one out first, he should not be. He's Yoshi Tatsu. He's one of these people that they should have fired a long time ago, or they even maybe shouldn't have even kept him when they switched DCW over, because he hasn't done anything since then. But he's also complained that WWE wouldn't let him raise the Japanese flag at WrestleMania. I kind of don't understand that one. And that they wouldn't let him help raise efforts for the Japanese relief with all the tsunamis and all that kind of stuff that's been going on. Partially because he wanted to go on tour with them on a Raw tour, and they said no because he's on Smackdown. What I don't get about this, and I'll actually support him on this one, they switch people all the time on these tours, and we were talking before the show started about, is anybody really going to be upset if Yoshi Tatsu doesn't show up for the Smackdown tour, if he's going to be on the Raw one instead? And then, of course, we made the joke that maybe the problem is they didn't want Tatsu on there because people would want a refund in the first place, but I can understand what he means by this. I can't understand what he means about the other stuff, the flag and the spot in the company. What do you guys think?
Well, first I'll say there's been more Yoshi Tatsu jokes on this show than Yoshi Tatsu appearances in the last 2 years. And that's perfectly okay with me.
Yeah. That's not going to change anybody. Even if Yoshi Tatsu gets fired from WWE, we're still just going to make fun of him.
You got to make fun of somebody. Might as well be Yoshi Tatsu.
Right.
As long as he's not driving.
I think Yoshi Tatsu is just getting to that point where he's starting to get burnt out. WWE has this thing where they make guys wait and wait and wait. And I think he's one of those guys who might just not be able to make it to that point where he's able to wait long enough, because he is a talent. He's very clean in the ring. He's obviously not someone who's there promo-wise, but they are starting to bring back managers, so maybe there's someone they can pair him with down the line when they find the right thing to do with him. But it sounds like his patience is running out, and he's not going to get to there.
You know what I'm surprised that they haven't done with him? Put him in a tag team.
Yeah. He had something with, I think it was Santino for a couple weeks, but they never followed through.
Yeah, because it's not like he would be hurt by being in a tag team. He still would get on the air. He would get somebody else on the air with him. You get 4 people in one spot instead of 2. But
why not put him and Tensai together?
Yeah, why not? Why not have him be like a subordinate alongside Sakamoto or something? Or have him save Sakamoto and say he doesn't need to open up his eyes, and the 2 of them could be I don't know, some kind of a tag team against Tensai, and Tensai will eat them or something.
And just replace Sakamoto. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who is Sakamoto?
I have no idea. He just kind of stands there. That's it. He might be trained to wrestle, but I haven't seen him do anything.
He's so small.
He might.
He's so
he might be kind
frail.
of like what Ricardo is, where he is like in FCW or something like that, but really just doesn't do anything. I don't know. Another thing was about people getting upset was AW Abraham Washington made that Kobe Bryant joke on Raw about he's as unstoppable as Titus O'Neil, I think it was, is as unstoppable as Kobe Bryant in a Colorado hotel room or something like that. And they immediately apologized. They made Abraham Washington apologize. They talked about that's a sensitive topic and all this kind of stuff. I get it. Let's just say that's all right. Generally speaking, rape is not funny. Now, can you make a funny rape joke? Yeah, you can. I mean, comedians do it all the time. Now, this guy's a heel, and he's supposed to be somebody who gets booed, and he's a charismatic type of guy who would say something like that. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as some other people do, but I can understand why they would need to do damage control.
Well, it's very ironic timing, because there's another thing going on in mainstream entertainment about a very similar situation with Daniel Tosh, who made a rape joke on his program. Now, the thing is, his rape joke was very blatant. It was like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if this girl just got raped by 5 guys right there in the audience? That's literally what he said. There was no creativity whatsoever.
Right.
AEW's was a little bit more subtle. Does that make it okay? You know, it definitely makes it more creative. It shows that he's actually trying to do his job rather than just being a jerk.
Yeah, it'd be a different story if he went right out into the crowd and pointed out and said, this fat person does this, and that girl looks like she needs to get raped or something like that. Then it would be, oh, okay.
Exactly.
But him just...
It's more of a Kobe Bryant joke than a rape joke. I
right,
think.
yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. To me, it would be a different story if it was 1999 and he made that joke in the Attitude Era. It's the PG era now. You just can't do it today.
Yeah, and I hope that they kind of get more along the edgier side of things as time goes on. It seems like they're being a little bit more lax, but...
Well, what I hope they get out of this is they don't keep putting those headset microphones on the managers. They break that out every once in a while, and it's just never good.
We're down to 3 minutes here, and we got a couple more topics left. One is Raw set catches fire. Is this a bad omen for the 3-hour format, or are things just heating up? I had to.
Corny fire jokes were in that 3-hour Raw.
I just thought that this was funny. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
Yeah, it was hilarious, and they loved showing the footage. Like, they had a good lighthearted spirit about it. Like, ha, look, we had a fire.
Right.
They replayed it like 4 or 5 times throughout the whole show.
Chris Jericho's tout about I'm on fire, and he's got the fire in the background. He's clearly not trying to help.
Yeah. I think it only would have been funnier if in the middle of the pyro thing they would have had Jeff Hardy come out and pretend like it screwed him up like they did before. Booker T is the new general manager of SmackDown. I'm all for it. I think that he could use the break from commentary. I kind of wish Stryker would come back, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that. And why not?
I could dig it, sucker. I'm going to miss him on commentary. I've grown to really like him, but at the same time, I'm not normally a fan of a 3-man booth. I did notice him not there at the 1000th episode. I was like, what's going on with Booker T? And then made me kind of think, what's going to happen with him now? And then he ended up being the GM. Good for him. I'm glad it's someone new. I'm glad they didn't just bring back Teddy Long. It's certainly someone nobody expected, similar to AJ. So we got 2 fresh GMs here. Let's see where they go with it.
What do you think, Urban?
I'm not a fan.
Not a
I'm
fan?
gonna be the bad guy in the room. The guy can barely speak English in commentary. He's supposed to be the boss that orders people around and tells this guy to go do a match, and it's just, I can't dig it. It's business.
Yeah. Another thing when we were going to talk about different people from the past and stuff, the Undertaker, he is going to have a baby. Baby McTaker, as they're calling the kid. Michelle McCool is pregnant any day now, apparently. So congrats to Taker.
The question is, will this kid follow in the footsteps?
Will he break the streak?
Oh my
20
gosh.
years from now.
40-0.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of the Undertaker at that FCW event, and I just can't look at the Undertaker, one, as being so old looking, and two, he was wearing that bowler cap, which just looks so hilarious on him. You know what I'm talking about? Like the round hat?
Yet, but I'm sure it's got to be funny.
It just looks so out of character. I remember being a little kid, and obviously, wrestling was much more real back then, but it was even more harder to let go that the Undertaker was a man and not this mystical creature. And seeing him so old and dressing, not just being an old man, but dressing like an old man. Like, I'm expecting to see him with, like, his pants pulled up above his belly button.
But the funny thing is, he's dressing like an old man, but he's got a mohawk underneath of his bowler cap.
Right. And last 30 seconds here, we got 12 rounds reloaded, starring Randy Orton. Don't care whatsoever.
Yeah.
This is just
quit your
because
day job.
he got taken off the other movie, and they felt like they owed him.
And we have 15 seconds, but I'm just going to stop it right now. And if we go a little longer, who cares? Chris Jericho, going to be done before SummerSlam, August, what was it, the 14th, you said?
The 15th. He said that in an interview with IconVerseIcon.com that on the August 15th, his band Fozzie's newest album will be releasing, and that's the point where he's going to be switching to doing his band full time.
I don't know what that spells out for the Ziggler feud. I was really hoping that the two of them would have a match at SummerSlam, but if he doesn't work that extra date or something like that, then
I was hoping Jericho was going to be at Mania next year.
Me too.
Do you believe him, though?
I don't know.
He lies on his Twitters and all that other stuff all the
Twitter
time.
and interviews all the time about wrestling. I mean,
Unless
he was the one that was coming back.
Unless he decides not to talk about wrestling when I interviewed him.
Whatever he does, I always wish him the best. He's a very talented guy, and I'm happy to see that he's someone who doesn't need wrestling. He doesn't need to put his body through all the stuff, and he has no ego in wrestling. If you notice in his latest run, he's done nothing but put people over. He's been selfish about absolutely nothing.
Right, yeah. That's it for the hot tags then. Next part, we're going to talk about the Hottest Divas Knockouts tournament and end off episode 40.
Puppies!
Yeah, with some puppies.